Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Facebook Live. I'm Lisa Smith and the Peaceful Parent, and I'm excited to announce a new series. I'm going to be here every week at this time for about 30 minutes, and I'm going to be talking about parenting in this new normal, right? With the pandemic, the current situation that we're in, the sheltering in place, it's not going away. And I want to be your parenting resource. I want to be helpful. I want to support you as a parent. I want to give you tips and ideas that are going to help you be more peaceful and more calm and enjoy parenting in this new normal more, but also raise your kids' emotional intelligence. So that's really my goal. And what I thought we'd do is meet here every Thursday at this time, and I would, we'll have a discussion, we'll build a community. I'll share some ideas that I have with you, put some resources in the comments section, and we'll go on this journey together, I guess. Parenting and the new normal. Hello. So, my Siri liked that. So welcome. If you're here, if you're watching this live, I see we've got a few people here. Let me know where you're joining from. I'm always curious. I'm a world traveler, and I'm always curious where people live and what they do for a living. And so what we're going to talk about today is deep listening. And I'm just looking here. I want to see some of the comments. So bear with me a second. Facebook changed how you do things, and I'm trying to learn to use StreamYard.
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, Siri, enough. So I'm trying to learn to use StreamYard, and it's a little bit of a challenge, not going to lie. But anyway, let's move on. So today, what I want to talk to you guys about is deep listening. And what I really mean by deep listening is if you've heard me talk at all, or you've followed my work, or you've read my book, I believe that to get maximum cooperation from our kids, we need to feel connected. They need to feel connected to us. And I love Brene Brown's definition of connected. That's when we feel seen, heard, and valued, right? So our kids need to feel seen, heard, and valued. And when they feel seen, heard, and valued, then cooperation will be at a maximum, okay? So a lot of the tools that I teach work on communication, connection, and cooperation. That's really the essence of peaceful parenting. Whatever road you want to take to get there, that's what the roundabout looks like. Hi, Jill. Welcome. So glad to have you here. So if you think about a roundabout, and you think of that it has three veins to it. One is communication, one is connection, and the other is cooperation. Okay. And so one of the ways for our children, this applies to all humans, but I'm going to speak about children. One of the ways for our children to feel really connected is for us to deep listen, to practice the skills of deep listening. And I wrote a blog post about this a little while ago, a few months ago, and I wanted to just share parts of it with you all today. And then I'm going to post the link to the blog post in the comments section, okay? So I call this How to Listen to Your Kids So It Makes a Difference. This is really the critical point, that it makes a difference for them. So I one day was listening to a podcast, and I heard Oprah, who is one of my mentors, interviewing a man named Thich Nhat Hanh. Nhat Hanh is the proper Vietnamese name to call him, is a Buddhist monk and a peace activist. He's written over 100 books on peace, and 40 of them are in English. He went to Princeton University, and he lives in France today after being exiled from his country for peacefully protesting the Vietnam War. And he's active in the peace movement, promoting nonviolent solutions to conflict. And I had no idea that listening to a podcast on an average Tuesday while driving to Trader Joe's, I would receive one of the greatest parenting tips from a peace activist that has no children, which was really ironic to me. So Oprah asked Nandhan about the value of deep listening. And after a really long pause, he said, deep listening is the kind of listening that can help relieve suffering of another person. You can call it compassionate listening. You listen with only one purpose, to help him or her empty his heart. Even if he says things that are wrong, full of wrong perceptions, full of bitterness, you are still capable of listening with deep compassion. Because you know that listening like that, you give the person a chance to suffer less. If you want to help him correct his perception, you wait for another time. For now, you don't interrupt, you don't argue. If you do, he loses his chance. You just listen with compassion to help him suffer less. 1 hour of listening like this can bring transformation and healing. Now, we're probably not going to listen to our kids for an entire hour, but that's really not the point of this. The point is to listen. The point is to listen with compassion and listen with the goal of just easing the other person's suffering. Oprah said, I love this idea of deep listening because often when someone comes to you and wants to vent, it's so tempting to start giving advice. And by the way, I don't know that there's, that's any more true than with our children, right? Sometimes we're so uncomfortable when they're in pain that they start telling us what's wrong and we immediately want to fix their problem. Immediately. So we start talking to them. But if you allow the person to just let their feelings out, then another time you come back with advice or comments, that person would experience a deeper healing. That's what you're saying, right? And in that moment, I was reminded that deep listening is at the heart of peaceful parenting. I often say that kids, really all humans, really want to be heard above all else. And they really want to be heard by their parents. They want to feel understood. I think the biggest compliment a child can give a parent is, you hear me and you understand me, right? I mean, think about that. Think about your child saying, hey, mom, hey, dad, you really get me. You understand me. Deep listening for our kids, or anyone for that matter, is a skill, one that needs to be developed and practiced. It requires setting aside our ego and at times our anger and disappointment. At times our goals and dreams for our kids, our expectations and fears, and just listen. Listen to relieve the suffering of the other person. Listen so they can empty their hearts, and listening so they can feel heard. Right? Just take that in for a moment. I mean, imagine if during this new time, the only thing you did as a parent was learn to provide compassionate listening to your children. And I don't care whether they're 2, 12, or 22. If you just develop the skill of listening to them, listening with the intent in the beginning of just letting them ease their suffering, right? That's step one, no matter what they're saying. And then later, you come back and you talk to them about why they shouldn't fight with their sibling, or why they should do what you ask, or why they shouldn't get frustrated, or why they should be nicer to their friends, or why they should, not scream at people while on gaming, or why they should get out and exercise, right? If you come back later and talk about that, first of all, they'll be able to hear you better. But second of all, when you're providing that deep listening, when you're providing it, you will have offered them a chance to ease their suffering. Now, let me be clear. Deep listening doesn't mean you automatically give in to what they want or demand. It doesn't mean you even like what they say or agree with them. Deep listening just means that you listen to ease the suffering. Nandhan says, if you want to help him correct his perception, you wait for another time. For now, you don't interrupt. You don't argue. If you do, he loses his chance. You just listen with compassion and help him suffer less. I love this so much, and I actually keep this blog printed out and on my desk because I'm often reminding myself to make sure that I'm listening to my son and my husband with compassionate listening to ease their suffering. That I'm bringing that skill to my work with my clients, that I'm listening to ease their suffering. It's really it's a skill that is so worth taking the time to invest in, putting the time into, to develop the skill. I love this so much. You can always revisit the perception, the style, or the presentation later. But in that moment, the gift that you're giving your children is to feel heard. And again, I want to share with you, all children, what they really want in life, one of the main things they really want is to feel heard. That is really important. And you have just a beautiful opportunity to develop this skill. And it doesn't take long. It could be 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes of just deep listening, where you're saying to yourself, my goal here is to allow my child to talk to me in a way that eases their suffering. So I'd love to know what you guys think, those of you that are here live. I'd love to hear some comments. Is this resonating with you? Again, the goal here for me, I had this just realization last week that it's a new normal. And I think many of us are learning to parent in this new normal. So I've decided, I always want to be your parenting resource, always, but I really want to step up my game here during this new normal. And I thought what I would do is we would meet here each week, same time, same place, and just discuss a topic. I would provide some tools and some insight, some food for thought. I'd like to provide ideas that make you go, okay, I probably need to work on that, right? That really help you show up in a peaceful way while parenting your children during the new normal. So today we started with deep listening because I believe in my heart of hearts that it's really at the backbone of peaceful parenting is, for us to listen, for our children to feel heard, because when they feel heard, seen, heard, and valued, they feel connected. And when they feel connected, they're much more likely to cooperate, right? So there's something in it for you. There's a motivation for you because we all want our kids to cooperate with us. That's what we really want. We want maximum cooperation in the home. So I'm going to leave you today with that thought, deep listening, with that challenge. I am going to challenge you to improve your deep listening with your kids. I'm committed to working on this skill, and I want to ask you to join me. So what I'd love for you to do, whether you're watching this live or in the recording, I'm issuing a challenge for the next 7 days to really work on your deep listening. And I'd love you to drop an emoji of some sort, or an amen or a yes ma'am in the comments section. I'm going to keep checking in here over the next week. And I want to know who's with me. I want to know who is committed to working on their deep listening in the next 7 days. I want to know that you're all in on this and that you see the value, because I dream of raising a generation of kids that feel deeply heard. I mean, can you imagine all the problems that can be solved if we all were walking around the earth right now feeling heard, like really feeling heard? Yeah, Jill just said absolutely. That really resonated with her, right? I mean, and for me, I dream of raising a generation of kids that feel heard. And it starts with deep listening. Yeah, Jill Littman just said, I'm all in. Excellent. I want to know who else is all in. So join me. Take the challenge and join me in the 7 days of practicing deep listening. And come back and share your aha moments and your ideas and your thoughts. And let's really get some conversation going around this. All right, that's it for now. I will meet you guys same place, same time next week, where we'll talk about another important topic on the journey to peaceful parenting and this new normal. So until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye.